Today, I'm going over the section in chapter 11 called The Invitation to Healing. If sickness is separation, the decision to heal and to be healed is the first step toward recognizing what you truly want. Every attack is a step away from this, and every healing thought brings it closer. The Son of God has both Father and Son because he is both Father and Son, right? Because we are one with God. To unite, having and being is to unite your will with his, for he wills you himself. And you will yourself to him because in your perfect understanding of him, you know there is but one will. Yet when you attack any part of God in his kingdom, your understanding is not perfect, and what you really want is therefore lost to you. So that's what's happening with all of us right now. We forgot who we are. We forgot that we are one with one another and with God. We forgot that all these things that we think we want, that we already are. Having and being are the same. That is our truth. And we forgot it. We lost it, is what he's telling us. Healing thus becomes a lesson in understanding. And the more you practice it, the better teacher and learner you become. If you have denied truth, what better witness to its reality could you have than those who have been healed by it? But be sure to count yourself among them, for in your willingness to join them is your healing accomplished. Every miracle that you accomplish speaks to you of the fatherhood of God. Every healing thought that you accept, either from your brother or in your own mind, teaches you that you are God's son. In every hurtful thought you hold, wherever you perceive it, lies the denial of God's fatherhood and of your sonship. So again, anytime that we have forgotten our truth, that we have forgotten that we are one with one another and with God, that we have forgotten that our beingness is love, that's when we feel lost. That's when we feel confused. That's when we feel pain. And the miracles that he's talking about here is not what the world thinks of as miracles. It's not about making things happen within the 3D. That's not what it's about. The miracle is knowing who and what you really are, which is one with God and with everyone else. That is the miracle. It's what the Course calls practicing forgiveness. It's when we use our spiritual sight to see that spark of light, that spark of God in everyone and everything everywhere. That is the miracle. And when we do that, when we practice that over and over and over again, then we are healing our split mind. And then the miracle is the love that we are feeling. It is the healing of our mind. And when we experience that miracle, the only miracle that there is within this dream is that, experiencing our truth, then there will be reflections of it within your dream. And that is what the world will traditionally call a miracle, right? Something that appears to happen within the 3D world. But that's not at all what it is. That's just making the world real and the things that happen with the world real and meaningful. No. The miracle is about seeing truth. And when we do that, now we are experiencing the world in a very different way. We know that it's a dream. We know that it's a classroom. We know that it is simply something for us to overlook, to look beyond, to see the spirit, to see the light in everyone and everything. That's what heals us. That's what makes us feel this love that he keeps talking about. And that is the miracle. And the more that we experience that in our lives, the more we will heal our mind, and the more at the same time we are healing everyone else's mind, because we are all one. All of our minds are joined unconsciously. So whatever we're thinking that we are and that everyone else is, meaning spirit, once we can see that, then that is helping everyone else's mind to awaken as well. That is our power, being here within this illusion. That is our function, okay? That is our gift that we have to give to our one mind. That is how you can help the one us to awaken. That is your function. And denial is as total as love, right? We can totally deny our truth, even though we are really totally love. You cannot deny part of yourself because the rest will seem to be separate and therefore without meaning. And being without meaning to you, you will not understand it. To deny meaning is to fail to understand. You can heal only yourself, for only God's Son needs healing. You need it because you do not understand yourself, and therefore know not what you do. Having forgotten your will, you do not know what you really want. Okay, more words to explain how confused we are, how we forgot who and what we really are. We have denied it. And how do we find ourselves? By practicing forgiveness. And in this last line, when he says, having forgotten your will, you do not know what you really want, that's when we're all lost in ego and we think we want all these things in the world. That shows us that we have forgotten our will and that we don't know what we really want, because what we do really want is love, true love, unconditional love, the love of God. Because that is who and what we really are. That's what we really desire. We just forgot. We're confused. Healing is a sign that you want to make whole, right? Because right now our mind is split, but we want to make it whole. And this willingness opens your ears to the voice of the Holy Spirit, whose message is wholeness. So remember, Holy Spirit is the voice for God, the memory of God within our dream. We are really whole. We are really one with God and one another. This is what we desire. But right now we are believing that we are separate and split apart. And that's false. He will enable you to go far beyond the healing you would undertake. For beside your small willingness to make whole, he will lay his own complete will and make yours whole, right? Because all we need is a tiny bit of willingness. We can't do it on our own. We need to be willing to let Holy Spirit come in and do it for us. And remember, Holy Spirit is just the higher aspect of our own mind. What can the Son of God not accomplish with the fatherhood of God in him? And yet the invitation must come from you. For you have surely learned that whom you invite as your guest will abide with you. Meaning, who are you going to invite in? Holy Spirit or ego? Because who we choose to invite in is going to determine how our mind is going to perceive. So this course is teaching us how to choose spirit. If we didn't have this course or any other teaching like it, we wouldn't know. We would just by default keep choosing ego because we are so lost and confused. But the truth is we do have a choice. That's our power. That's our little willingness, is just to know that we have a choice and to choose Holy Spirit. And then Holy Spirit does the rest. Holy Spirit does all the heavy lifting. We don't need to carry the burden. We don't need to worry about the details. We just need to invite Holy Spirit into our mind. That's it. The Holy Spirit cannot speak to an unwelcoming host because he will not be heard. We have to invite him in, right? An unwelcoming host is someone who's not inviting Holy Spirit in. It's our job to invite Holy Spirit in. The eternal guest remains, but his voice grows faint in alien company. The eternal guest, that's Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is eternal, just waiting to be invited in. And if we don't invite Holy Spirit in, then his voice grows faint, right? Then we won't hear it because we have closed off and decided not to listen. He needs your protection only because your care is a sign that you want him. All right, when it says he needs your protection, that's metaphor. Holy Spirit does not actually need our protection for anything, but it's metaphor to talk to us in our ego dream world, the way we're used to thinking about things. Holy Spirit needs us to invite him in. That's what he's trying to say. Think like him ever so slightly, and the little spark becomes a blazing light that fills your mind so that he becomes your only guest. So again, we only need to focus on that little tiny spark of light. When we do that and we give our mind to Holy Spirit, that tiny spark becomes a blaze. Holy Spirit has all the power to do that. We only have to be willing. We only have to do our little part of willingness to see the spark. Whenever you ask the ego to enter, you lessen his welcome, right? When we ask the ego to enter our mind, we are lessening the welcome of Holy Spirit. He will remain, but you have allied yourself against him. So when we're choosing ego, Holy Spirit will still remain. It's just that we haven't chosen Holy Spirit. We chose to attack Spirit by identifying with ego. Whatever journey you choose to take, he will go with you, waiting. You can safely trust his patience, for he cannot leave a part of God. Yet you need far more than patience. Yeah, because we could be waiting forever, right? That's why this world appears to have continued for eons of time, because we keep waiting and not inviting Holy Spirit in and choosing ego. Time's an illusion. It's only here to give us as much time as we need to awaken, to choose Holy Spirit. That's what we're being taught to do. So why do we need far more than patience? Because we don't want to just sit around and be patient. We have to choose Spirit. We have to choose to see the tiny spark of light. You will never rest until you know your function and fulfill it. For only in this can your will and your Father's will be wholly joined. What's your function? To awaken, to identify with Spirit and awaken. To have him is to be like him, and he has given himself to you, right? We're all one. As soon as we accept Holy Spirit into our mind, we are him, right? Because we're all one. You who have God must be as God, for his function became yours with his gift. Again, because we are one with God. Invite this knowledge back into your mind and let nothing that obscures it enter. So he's telling us, don't let ego in, only Holy Spirit. The guest whom God sent you will teach you how to do this, if you but recognize the little spark and are willing to let it grow. The guest whom God sent you is Holy Spirit, and Holy Spirit will teach us to do this. Holy Spirit will teach us how to heal our mind if we only recognize the little spark and are willing to let it grow. That's all that's needed, is our willingness. Your willingness need not be perfect, because his is. Okay, we don't have to do it perfectly. We just have to keep being willing. And like I said, Holy Spirit does all the heavy lifting. That's why we not need be perfect, because he is. If you will merely offer him a little place, he will lighten it so much that you will gladly let it be increased. And by this increase, you will begin to remember creation. Oh, that's a beautiful way to talk about practicing forgiveness. Allow Holy Spirit in, allow the little spark to grow, because Holy Spirit will make that spark of light grow. And that allows us to remember creation. Creation is our truth. It is the eternal extension of love. It is the wholeness and oneness that we are. That is true creation. Not anything within this world that we so-called create. No, what the Course calls that is making. Anything we do in this world, when we believe we're an ego and we believe the world is real, is something we are making with our mind. That's not creation. Creation is knowing your truth of who and what you and everyone else really is, which is spirit. That is true creation. That's what God does. God extends love eternally, and that's what we really do when we are at home with God in heaven, which we are right now. We just forgot. We are perceiving something different. That's why we think we're here in this world, in this dream. Would you be hostage to the ego or host to God? Right? It's our choice. Which one of those are we going to do? Are we going to allow ourselves to be ego's hostage, which we're all doing as long as we believe that we are this body and we are in this world? Or would you be a host to God? How do you do that? You allow Holy Spirit into your mind. You will accept only whom you invite. We are going to accept ego if we invite ego into our mind, which is what most of us are doing most of the time. And we are going to accept spirit when we let spirit into our mind. And that is how we heal our split mind. You are free to determine who shall be your guest and how long he shall remain with you. Right? You get to determine how long do you want to identify with ego, or would you like to change that up and identify with spirit instead? It's up to us. Yet this is not real freedom, for it still depends on how you see it. Okay, so the choice that we can make within the dream of choosing ego or spirit still isn't even real freedom, because our mind is still confused and we still think that there's a choice. Real freedom is when the ego just doesn't even exist anymore, because it's not even real. And we know that when we're fully identified with who and what we really are. That is real freedom. But in the meantime, until we can accomplish that and completely heal our mind and completely awaken, we are going to practice perceiving correctly. We're going to keep perceiving, we're going to keep practicing and choosing spirit over and over and over again. And eventually we will fully awaken. The Holy Spirit is there, although he cannot help you without your invitation. So once again, we have to invite Holy Spirit in. And the ego is nothing, whether you invite it in or not. It's nothing. It doesn't exist. It's not real. We're just pretending. Real freedom depends on welcoming reality. That's spirit. And of your guests, only the Holy Spirit is real. Right? Ego's false. Ego's not real. And spirit is. So even though it appears we have two guests to choose from to invite into our mind, only one's real and the other's completely made up. Know then who abides with you merely by recognizing what is there already. And do not be satisfied with imaginary comforters, for the comforter of God is in you. Okay, so the imaginary comforter is ego, right? We keep imagining that this world is going to bring us some sort of satisfaction. But the real comforter is spirit. That is what heals our mind and our heart.